Africa is rich in resources, minerals, water and fertile land. The most important resource Africa has yet to explore, however, is the potential of its youth. Africa is seeing its largest ever youth group in history. Over 65% of Africa's population and 45% of its labor force are young people under the age of 35. Focused investment in youth empowerment has resulted in emerging economies and sustainable development. Such investments in youth have included skill-based education, dignified employment, access to financing and information, access to affordable health, and meaningful youth participation at every level of social, political, and economic functioning.
La jeunesse représente un capital qu'aucun État ni aucune société ne peut se permettre d'ignorer ni de dilapider. Elle est une force motrice et une ressource essentielle du développement durable, tant au niveau national que continental pour l'Afrique. La jeunesse participe de surcroît aux changements et mutations de la société.
We have successful entrepreneurs in Africa who are known, and it's important that young people relate to people who have come from their backgrounds and their frame of references, because they cannot relate to people who have sort of become successful in developing markets. They can relate to people who have become successful having faced the same challenges that they themselves face. So I think there is a huge scope for young entrepreneurs in Africa to be celebrated and to basically become the new rock stars and champions of business and industry in Africa.
I'm 27 years old and I'm from Kenya. What we've done basically, I run a company that is in the mobile money space. There was a problem and a gap between mobile money and merchant accounts or businesses. And we have built a solution called M-Pair that helps companies make sense of their mobile money assimilation.
At some point I realized that there was only one thing man couldn't do without, and that was food. And I needed to position myself in that area where man couldn't do without. And I knew that I was going to be successful at it. Before now, people used to see farming as an operation of those who live in the rural areas, who stay in the villages. But today, agriculture is way beyond that. It is going through the full value chain, from production, processing, packaging, and upwards distribution and to the urban areas. I learned a lot from the Enterprise Development Center in Nigeria, and I was taught how to put structure in my business, how to hire properly, when to take proper financial decisions, write a proper business plan, do my cash flow projections, and that positioned me better. And today I can go and approach, I'm able to approach the financial institutions to get adequate funding for my business.
We've taken advantage of social media in Africa, make use of Facebook to promote so many activities. Some of us work on radio and TV stations across Africa where we can, go on radio and TV to promote what African Youth Charter is all about. Some of us write, we have blogs, we are reporters, we write articles to so many media organizations where they can actually make it available, get it published for a lot of African youth to actually read and get to know. I think what we need is empowering people with the knowledge of what African Youth Charter is all about. And with that, if some of us, all of us, we know what our rights are explained in the African Youth Charter in our various countries.
Through slavery, I was born in the West.
We come to Ethiopia to start a business as a young youth.
And as we looked around and see the marketing on the pastries and baking, we came back to live 1 month after the same way. As an international business, I just can't just sell cakes to one shop or one person.
Right now we're trying to focus into making our thing into the supermarket and more distributing to the cafes. So that is our main concern as of now.
Most young people want to just make money, and making money is good, but not at the expense of losing our values. And so we are saying, let's promote the right values, the right culture. We want to be people of integrity. We want people to know that it is possible to make money the honest way.
It is evident that Africa's huge demographic bonus can either become its greatest development asset and powerhouse of opportunity, or a time bomb of unmet needs, disillusionment and social tension. While the majority of African countries have recorded strong achievements in universal primary education, there are still several countries where literacy rates remain very low. The majority of countries across Africa also have very low secondary and tertiary school enrollment. Aside from a few countries, it is evident that educational opportunities for young people after the primary level are few and far between. Youth unemployment remains one of the most persistent development challenges for African countries. Acknowledging differences in measurement, labour force participation is slightly better in North African countries, though still not favourable, while youth in sub-Saharan Africa have the fewest opportunities. And the data clearly shows that young women remain as the most significantly disadvantaged. As Africa grapples with conflict and war, it is the youth who are the greatest victims. Hundreds of thousands of young people under the age of 18 are involved in armed conflict, with some being formally recruited into the military or paramilitary forces. While the effects of compromised opportunities for youth development are obvious, it is the psychological scars and negative impact on social behavior that are the most irreversible. There are blatant and daily violations of international conventions that continue to victimize young people, especially girls across the continent. This includes high levels of early marriage and female genital mutilation, prostitution, rape and trafficking. It is clear that youth development and empowerment cannot become a reality without addressing issues of protection. The specific barriers to youth empowerment and development are far from impossible to remove, but most importantly, this must start with a change of mindset.
Well, people discriminate against us purely because of our age. They see us as irresponsible and see us as being in a transition mode from sort of being young to being an adult and becoming responsible. But I would counter that by saying I think a lot of the young people are energetic, they're creative, they're innovative, and they're unconventional, which is definitely a plus in terms of starting businesses.
Participation is impossible when you don't have access to information, when you don't have enough education about all the material that's talking about your rights. So when all is said and done, one of the key challenges is this access to information. Because people right down in the rural areas, conflict-affected areas, if they don't have that information, well, they may think that's why they may think it's a privilege to participate, because they don't have their right to participate.
Au Cameroun, vous avez une grande frange des jeunes qui se concentrent dans la coiffure, qui font dans la couture, qui font également dans, on appelle ça au Cameroun des call box, un peu partout les box de téléphone. Le secteur informel, c'est la jeunesse. La jeunesse, très généralement issue des couches défavorisées, elle a aussi droit à la vie, elle a également droit au succès et à la vie.
Because young people get out there without any formal training. Nobody prepared you for the real world. We are taught how to read and write. We're taught different fields, history, geography, biology, chemistry. But the truth of the matter is we're incomplete if we do not understand how to convert this into wealth. A lot of young people are confused.
What I would like to see is more people and more curriculums being taught in schools whereby somebody says, I don't want to become a doctor, I want to become a businessman and own a hospital. And that is what I would like to see more ingrained in our children and in the people that we raise up from school.
I'm not going to want to sing because she sings. I dig. I'm a peasant son. If we can have farms in every African nation, then let's sell our produce. Open this border business. Let Kenya buy my fruits. Let's have regional cooperation. We don't want to get rich in one day. We don't want millions of dollars from the World Bank. We can make our money. You know, let's buy tractors. Let's import tractors, not tanks to kill us. You know, let's import seeds.
No weapons.
No weapons. Let's enter Africa. I don't want a South African to think I'm a Ugandan, I'm not a part of him.
where our governments look at youth as a sector that can create jobs, and that needs to be targeted by policies, to be able to be encouraged and given incentives to go into business, like the opportunity of creating, linking agriculture and fashion. And this is using our cotton cloth to be able to produce beautiful kind of clothes you like to wear.
Many governments look at entrepreneurship as a means for poverty reduction, but it really should be changed to that of wealth creation.
We need a lot of support as youth. We have great ideas, and sometimes the guys who have gone before us have lost their youth, and they're settled in their way of life, and they don't have the spunk, the zeal, the energy, even the ideas to drive a nation forward. So they need to encapsulate our ideas in the vision of a country or our country, so that we can be able to charter the way forward for them with their support.
If the powers that be cannot help us, where do we go? You know, as the youth, what do we do if we do not have a voice?
Because it's important to talk issues that are from the youth themselves, but not what you think that the youth want.
And we've got to tell the good story about what we're doing, what we are achieving, you know, the progress that we're making in education, in health, etc., etc.
To make sure that the dream, the Africa we all want, the Africa that the whole world will hear and be proud of, there we can get it realized.
The future is now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nós sonhamos África, nós amamos África e nós somos África.